Welcome to Stories for Sleep, a place where gentle stories are told to help the mind grow quiet and the body slowly drift into rest. If today you feel tired, if your thoughts are still moving, or if you simply wish to find something soft and soothing to listen to before sleep, then you are in the right place. Tonight we begin a special journey together, called The Most Relaxing Facts About the Universe, to help you sleep. These are not dry lessons or numbers to remember, but gentle stories about distant stars, about silent space, and about a vastness that makes our worries feel small. Through a reflective and deeply thoughtful perspective, you will sense the universe as a peaceful space where the mind can finally rest. Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that help you relax and fall asleep like this, please take a moment to subscribe and continue traveling with Stories for Sleep on future journeys. Now, relax your body, breathe slowly, and we will begin. Sometimes, when night falls and every sound gradually fades, the mind becomes more alive than ever. Thoughts keep moving, and the small worries of the day suddenly feel larger in the quiet darkness. Perhaps you have lain there before eyes closed but unable to sleep because the mind keeps wandering still, searching for something to hold on to. In moments like these, what we need is not absolute silence, but a gentle flow of reflection. A story deep enough to carry the mind away from its concerns, yet soft enough to guide the body towards sleep. Tonight we will enter such a journey together. A journey with no rush, no tension, nothing to remember or analyze. Simply listen and let your mind drift far away. We will turn our gaze outward beyond this quiet room, beyond the city, beyond the night sky, towards something far greater, the universe. Carl Jung believed that human beings do not live only in the physical world, but also carry within themselves a deep inner space, where ancient symbols and eternal questions quietly remain. When we look up at the star-filled sky, perhaps, it is not only curiosity about the world outside, but also a reflection of something within us, a feeling of being small yet deeply peaceful, as if returning to a place very ancient that we have never fully remembered. In this video, you will not only hear about stars, galaxies, or endless distances. You will hear gentle truths about the universe, things that may surprise you, yet are soft enough to help your mind slowly relax. You will discover that the universe is not only vast and mysterious, but also moves in a slow, quiet rhythm, like a deep breath before sleep. And as you listen to stories about ancient light, about planets drifting silently in the darkness, you may feel that you are no longer trapped inside today's thoughts. Instead, your mind will begin to open, soften, and drift into a slower rhythm, deeper, calmer. Let these stories guide you, because sometimes the easiest way to sleep is to let the mind fly far into the endless universe. Part 1. A journey drifting through the universe when night falls and the sounds of the world slowly fade away. This is the perfect moment to gently enter a journey that requires no movement, no effort, only relaxation and a willingness to drift. Let your body sink into the pillow, let your eyes close naturally, and allow your breathing to become a little slower. In that stillness, imagine yourself leaving behind the familiar worries of a long day, as if each thought dissolves into space, as if each tension slowly lets go. This is not a hurried journey. There is no destination, nothing to achieve, only a gentle drifting like a leaf on water, or like a cloud moving quietly through the deep night sky. In the view of Carl Gustav Jung, the universe is not only an endless space outside of us, but also a reflection of the inner world. Distant stars, vast galaxies, and the quiet emptiness seem to exist somewhere within the human mind as well. When we think about the universe, we are not only thinking about distances measured in billions of light years, but also touching a feeling of smallness, humility, and peace. Jung once said that human beings carry a deep need to connect with something greater than themselves, and the universe in its vastness and silence is perhaps the most powerful symbol of that. Imagine yourself drifting quietly through space, There is no noise, no pressure, no expectations. Only distant shimmering stars, galaxies slowly turning like winds that cannot be seen, and a deep stillness surrounding everything. There you do not need to think too much. You only need to feel. Feel that you exist within a universe so vast that the small worries of human life begin to grow lighter, thinner, and slowly fade away. This journey is not only about exploring stars, planets, or mysterious black holes. It is also a journey inward, because when we look up at the night sky, we often feel something strangely familiar, even if we cannot name it. Perhaps it is an ancient memory, a primal feeling that Jung called the collective unconscious, a place that holds shared symbols and experiences of humanity. For a very long time, the night sky with its distant points of light has made people stop, look up, and reflect. It slows us down, it deepens our breathing, and sometimes it brings a peace that is difficult to explain. Perhaps that is why thinking about the universe often calms the mind. No longer pulled into small concerns, we begin to feel a different rhythm, slower, deeper, wider. The stars do not rush, galaxies do not hurry. Everything in the universe seems to move in a rhythm so distant and slow, as if time there is not the same as our own. And as you allow yourself to follow that rhythm, your body begins to relax as well. Imagine drifting through a quiet region of space filled with clouds of shimmering stardust. In the distance, a galaxy slowly turns its light, gentle and far away. Somewhere else, a star burns, quietly releasing energy for billions of years without any hurry. And somewhere in that vastness, there are black holes, mysterious dark regions where even light comes to rest. All of this may sound immense and hard to understand, but in the space of sleep, none of it needs to be frightening. It is simply part of a great, quiet, and deep picture. The important thing is that you do not need to understand everything. You do not need to remember numbers or imagine every detail clearly. This journey is not a lesson. It is an experience, a listening, a gentle drifting. You only need to let your mind open slightly, like a door left ajar, and allow these images to pass through, as if you are hearing a story without needing to follow every detail. Just let the voice carry you a little farther, a little deeper into the quiet place where sleep is waiting. In Jung's view, images of the universe often appear in dreams as symbols of the vastness within the soul. When we dream of the sky of stars, or of flying through space, it may be the mind's way of seeking freedom from daily burdens. It is searching for quiet, for connection, for something deeper. And perhaps that is why listening about the universe before sleep helps us relax. Because there is no pressure there, no expectations, only vastness and peace. Let yourself drift a little farther. Imagine lying within an endless space, surrounded by the gentle light of distant stars. There is no cold, no heat, no heaviness, only lightness, as if space itself is holding you. The thoughts of the day slowly move away. Familiar sounds fade into the distance, and all that remains is your slow, steady breathing like a gentle wave. The universe is not only a place of distance, it is also a place of deep stillness. A stillness that, if you listen carefully, feels very much like the peace within yourself. Perhaps somewhere inside every person there is a space like this, a place untouched by worry, unmoved by fear, a place you can return to whenever you need to rest. And right now, as you listen, as your eyes grow heavier and your body softens, this journey drifting through the universe is gently bringing you closer to sleep. There is no need to try, nothing more to do. Just keep listening, keep breathing slowly, and let yourself drift. As you continue drifting in your imagination, you may begin to feel a very special kind of quiet surrounding you. It is not an empty silence, but a full and peaceful one, as if the universe is holding you in an invisible embrace. In that place, there is no pressure to become anyone, nothing to prove, nothing to finish, only simple existence, gentle and complete. Imagine yourself floating in a stream of soft light, where particles of stardust shimmer like distant memories. Each grain of dust may have existed for billions of years, drifting through space, quietly witnessing the formation and disappearance of countless worlds. And somewhere within your own body, there are atoms just as ancient. This makes human beings part of a story far greater than everyday life. In Jung's reflections, certain symbols appear in the human mind not by chance. The night sky, the stars, the deep darkness, all touch a very ancient part of the soul. Perhaps because our ancestors, thousands of years ago, also sat beneath the same sky, quietly looking up and feeling something they could not name. A feeling of being small yet peaceful, alone yet connected. As you lie here listening, you are repeating a very ancient human experience, pausing, breathing slowly and gazing into vastness. But instead of looking with your eyes, you are looking with your imagination. And that imagination does not need to be clear. It only needs to be soft, like a dream slowly forming. Perhaps somewhere in your mind, the image of a slowly turning galaxy appears, or a star quietly burning in the darkness, or simply a gentle, shapeless space. Whatever image comes is right, because this is not a journey of precision, it is a journey of feeling. You may notice that when thinking about the universe, your breathing becomes slower, your shoulders soften. Thoughts that once circled in your mind begin to feel distant, like stars growing smaller as we look from far away. And this is completely natural, because when the human mind touches something vast, it often lets go of what is small. Keep drifting a little farther. Imagine passing through a region of space where the light is soft like mist. There is no sound, yet it feels as though a distant rhythm exists. Perhaps it is the pulse of stars. Perhaps it is the vibration of the universe itself. Or perhaps it is simply your own heartbeat, becoming slower and steadier. In this moment, you are no longer held by time, no longer pulled back by thoughts of today or tomorrow. You are simply here in a deep, quiet space. And within that quiet, sleep begins to draw closer like a gentle wave. You do not need to search for it. You do not need to try to sleep. Just as a star quietly shines, sleep arrives gently when everything grows still. And right now you are very close to that stillness. Let the images of the universe continue to pass through your mind, slowly turning galaxies, distant stars, endless space. Everything is there, unhurried, unchanged, too quickly. And within that slow rhythm, you are drifting deeper into a calmer state. If any thoughts appear, let them pass like clouds. No need to hold on to them, no need to analyze. Just watch them move by and return to the gentle feeling of space surrounding you. And gradually you may begin to notice that this journey drifting through the universe is very much like the journey into sleep. There is no clear beginning, no single moment when it happens. Only a soft transition, very slow from wakefulness into dreaming. And you are right there, on that gentle edge. Part 2. The Origin and Age of the Universe. As we begin to reflect on the origin and age of the universe, the human mind touches a question both distant and familiar. When did everything begin? According to modern science, the universe we live in is believed to be about 13.8 billion years old. This number is so vast that it is almost impossible to imagine. It is longer than any story humanity has ever told, deeper than any memory we can hold. And although science has come far in uncovering the ancient traces of space, there are still gaps, still debates, still theories opening like doors toward the unknown. If we listen with a calm and quiet soul, we may feel that the story of the universe's age is not only about numbers but also about memory. Because the oldest light, humans can observe what is known as cosmic background radiation, is like a very distant echo left from the moment when space first opened. It is light that has existed since nearly the dawn of the universe, traveling for billions of years through endless motion and emptiness to reach us today. When scientists observe it, they do not only see data, they are seeing a memory, a very distant memory of space itself. Carl Jung once said that within every human being exist deep layers of collective memory, images, and feelings that do not belong to one person but to all humanity. When we think about cosmic background radiation, we may sense a quiet similarity. The universe also has its own memory. Those faint waves of light are like an ancient recording preserving a moment when everything had not yet taken clear shape. And when we know that this light is still present around us in every direction of space, we begin to feel as though we are living within a story that is still being told. 13.8 billion years, a span so vast that human life seems very small beside it. But rather than making us feel lost, that number can bring a sense of peace, because it reminds us that everything has its time. Mountains form and erode, stars are born and fade, galaxies collide and drift apart, and human life, with all its worries and hopes, is only a brief moment within that flow. When we place ourselves inside that immense timeline, the things that trouble us today grow lighter. Unfinished thoughts, unanswered questions, they become like small ripples on a very wide ocean. The universe existed billions of years before we arrived, and it will continue long after we are gone. Realizing this does not make us sad. Sometimes it brings comfort, because we understand that we do not have to carry everything. We only need to live in the small piece of time we have been given. But the story of the universe's age does not end there. Even as scientists measure and estimate, there are still many debates about how everything began. Some theories suggest that the universe may not have been born only once. It may have passed through many cycles, expanding and contracting, beginning and ending, then beginning again. This idea creates a special image, the universe like a breath, inhaling, exhaling, expanding, then drawing inward, over and over. Seen through Jung's lens, the idea of cycles is not only a physical concept, it reflects a deeper pattern within the human soul. Our lives also move in cycles. There are times when things open and times when they close. Moments when we feel we are growing and moments when we feel we are returning to something old. Yet these cycles shape our development. These repetitions help us change. Perhaps the universe is like that. Not a single story with one beginning and one final ending, but a long flow of beginnings. This thought brings a gentle feeling. It makes us sense that existence is not just a brief moment, but part of a much larger circle. As you lie quietly thinking about ancient light still traveling through space, you may imagine it like memories drifting through your own mind. Some memories are near, belonging to today. Some are farther away, belonging to childhood. And some feelings appear without knowing where they came from, yet they have always been there. Jung called this the deep layer of the soul where ancient images are held. The universe also has its own deep layers, and cosmic background radiation is one of the oldest traces that remain. It is like the echo of a moment when space first began. A faint echo, yet strong enough to tell the story of the beginning. When we think about this, in the quiet of night, a strange feeling appears. We no longer feel like we are standing outside the universe observing it. We begin to feel that we are inside it. Not only observers, but part of the story. The atoms in our bodies were once born in ancient stars. Those elements existed billions of years before becoming part of life. And so when we think about the age of the universe, we are also thinking about our own age, not the age of the body, but the age of the matter that forms it. A part of us is very old, very ancient, very deep, and this thought brings a quiet sense of peace. Perhaps that is why when we look up at the night sky, we often feel stillness, not because we understand everything, but because we realize that some things are too vast to fully understand. And within that vastness, we are allowed to let go. Imagine ancient light still drifting through space, passing galaxies, crossing endless distances, and finally touching Earth. It does not hurry. It does not change direction. It simply continues its journey for billions of years. Thinking about that may slow your breathing just a little. Because the universe is not in a rush, and you do not need to rush either. Everything is moving in its own rhythm. Even time itself flows in a gentle way. And in this moment, as you lie still, listening to the story of the universe's origin, you may feel as though you are drifting along with that stream of time. Not moving quickly, just drifting slowly, gently, like a leaf on water. Perhaps we will never know exactly how the universe began. Perhaps there will always be unanswered questions. But that does not make the story any less meaningful. In fact, the unknown makes the universe deeper. It leaves room for imagination, for curiosity, and for dreams. And when night falls, when everything becomes quiet, thinking about a space that has existed for billions of years can bring a special feeling. A feeling of being surrounded by time. As if you are lying within a story that is very long, very slow, and very peaceful. And in that peace, your mind may gradually relax. The thoughts of the day begin to drift away. Images of vast space grow softer. And just as ancient light has traveled for billions of years to arrive here, sleep will also come to you slowly, naturally, and gently. As we continue to think about the age of the universe, we may imagine it as an ocean of time without a shore. Stars are born, shine, and fade like small glimmers on water at night. Each star is each galaxy is a long chapter, and the whole universe is a vast book still being written moment by moment, slowly and patiently. Somewhere far away, light from ancient stars is still traveling, carrying images of the past. When that light reaches Earth, it brings memories of ages when humans did not yet exist. It is like dreams of the universe drifting through space and time, gently touching our minds. Carl Jung once said that human beings carry a longing to return to their origin. Perhaps looking up at the night sky is one of the deepest ways we feel that. Because within that distant light there is part of our own history. Not the history of personal memory, but the history of matter, of energy, of life itself. As you lie quietly and imagine the ancient universe, let your mind slow down. Imagine time as a long river, and you are gently placing your hand into the water, feeling its current pass by. There is no need to understand everything, no need to grasp it all. Just feel. Because there are things that do not need explanation to have meaning. It is enough to know that the universe existed long before we appeared, and it continues to expand every moment. And within that expansion, there is a space that is very quiet, very deep, like the stillness inside the human soul when it begins to let go of the day's thoughts. Somewhere, a star may just have been born. Somewhere else, another has quietly faded. All of this happens in a rhythm so slow that we cannot see it. But if we listen with inner stillness, we can feel a gentle movement like a deep breath of space itself. And within that breath, we no longer feel small. We feel that we belong to something very large, very ancient, and very peaceful. Perhaps that is the feeling many people experience when they look up at the night sky. A feeling that is hard to explain, yet warm. A feeling that we are not alone, that we are part of a story greater than ourselves. As that thought softens, your mind begins to relax. Images of the ancient universe of light, drifting through space of time, moving quietly, all blend together like a gentle current. And then, just as light has traveled for billions of years to arrive here, sleep will come to you slowly, softly, and naturally. Part 3. Strange worlds and wonderful structures. As night settles and the world grows quieter, human imagination often begins to open in a natural way. We no longer think only about what is close, but our thoughts reach outward beyond the sky, beyond the stars, toward regions of space we have never seen. In the relaxed state before sleep, the mind becomes soft and deep like a still lake reflecting distant images of the universe. And in that moment, strange and wondrous worlds begin to appear like dreams that feel real, slow, gentle, and full of quiet wonder. There are planets in the universe that do not orbit any star. They drift alone in the deep darkness like lonely travelers across an endless ocean. They are called wandering planets. With no sun to warm them, no daylight, only endless silence. And yet within that solitude there is a beauty of its own. We can imagine them as ancient stones drifting softly through the night, carrying the story of a lost solar system of a past no one remembers. Carl Jung once said that deep within every person exist archetypal images, symbols of solitude, of journeys, of the search for meaning. A wandering planet in some way reflects parts of our own soul when we feel lost in life. And yet, like them, we continue to drift, continue to exist, carrying the light of memory within us, even without a clear sun to guide us. Space holds even stranger worlds. There are planets that scientists believe may be filled with diamond, not small sparkling stones like those on Earth, but vast structures where pressure and heat have transformed matter into something entirely different. The thought feels like stepping into a cosmic fairy tale where the impossible quietly exists. Far away, there are stars that were born when the universe was still young. They have lived through billions of years, shining quietly in endless darkness. When we look at them, we are looking into the deep past of space. Their light has taken so long to reach us that when we see them today, they may already have changed or disappeared. It creates a strange feeling as if we are looking at a memory of the universe. There are also galaxies known as ghost galaxies, faint structures with very few stars like silent shapes drifting through space. They exist yet are almost invisible, like whispers that can only be sensed if we listen very carefully. In Jung's view, what is unseen often carries deep meaning. It is like the subconscious within the human mind, not clear, not bright, yet always present and influential. Thinking about those faint galaxies brings a deep stillness. No noise, no bright explosions, only quiet existence. And that quiet existence brings peace, much like the way a person sitting in darkness can still feel the rhythm of their own breathing. Perhaps the most wondrous thing of all is space itself. We often imagine space as an endless emptiness, but some theories suggest it may have no edge, no final boundary, but instead curves in ways we cannot imagine. Just as we can walk on Earth without seeing its edge, because it curves, the universe may be similar. No walls, no final point, only a vast, gentle bending. This thought, seen softly, brings comfort. A space without edges feels like an embrace without end. It does not restrict, does not confine, only quietly surrounds everything. In the calm state before sleep, this image becomes soothing. The feeling of lying in a space that is vast yet safe. Carl Jung believed the human mind always seeks connection with something greater than itself. When we think about these strange worlds, we are not only learning about science, we are touching something deeper, the feeling of mystery, of vastness, of being small yet special within a great story. Somewhere in the deep darkness, a wandering planet continues its journey. An ancient star continues to shine. A faint galaxy slowly drifts through space. Everything happens very slowly, very quietly, almost without sound. And as your mind drifts along with these images, the thoughts of the day begin to settle. Small worries fade. A gentle feeling appears as if you are lying in a vast night ocean, surrounded by distant worlds. There is no need to understand everything, no need to imagine clearly. It is enough to know that out there many things are simply existing quietly, steadily, beautifully. And that quiet existence makes us feel lighter, slower, more peaceful. In that moment, the universe is no longer far away. It becomes part of the stillness spreading through your mind. And as that stillness deepens, it is like a soft blanket covering the last remaining thoughts. And slowly, among images of drifting planets, ancient stars, and endless curved space, your mind begins to drift in a very gentle way. Slow, soft, deep, just like the universe itself. Part 4. The most extreme objects. In this slow journey through thoughts of the universe, there comes a moment when imagination pauses before things that seem beyond all familiar understanding. These are the most extreme objects that have ever existed. Neutron stars so dense they are hard to imagine. Black holes so deep that even light cannot return. And the first stars that once burned in the early universe and then quietly vanished. As you close your eyes and let your mind drift slowly, you may feel these images not as dry scientific knowledge, but as deep symbols, much like the way Carl Jung saw images rising from the unconscious things that make us curious, silent, and quietly in awe. Imagine a star that has lived its entire life. It once shone brightly for millions, even billions of years. It gave energy to the planets around it. Its light traveled across endless space, but one day its fuel began to fade. Gravity pulled everything inward, and when it could collapse no further, it became a neutron star, small yet unbelievably heavy. Just a teaspoon of its matter could weigh more than a mountain. You do not need to understand this in numbers. Only feel that there are places in the universe where everything becomes so dense that time itself seems to slow. A neutron star is like a heart that has drawn inward after a long life. It no longer shines as before, but it still exists, spinning rapidly in the darkness. Some spin hundreds of times each second, sending out steady pulses like the ticking of a cosmic clock. When you imagine that rhythm, you may feel a slow rhythm in your own mind, like a deep breath before sleep. And then there are things even more extreme: black holes. They do not shine. They have no clear surface. They are like deep openings, where everything that enters disappears from sight. But rather than fear them, if we look gently, they can feel like places of absolute stillness. Places where all movement slows, where all noise disappears, where the universe holds itself in silence. Carl Jung spoke of ancient symbols in the human unconscious images of darkness, of depth, of disappearance and rebirth. A black hole in some way can feel like such a symbol. Not something frightening, but like a doorway into stillness, a place where everything returns to its quietest state. Some stars end their lives in brilliant explosions, but some fade in silence. No great light, no echo. They slowly shrink, grow dim, and disappear into the darkness. There is something gentle in that image. Not sorrowful, but peaceful, like a candle burning out in the night, quietly completing its journey. Thinking about this brings a soft feeling. Not everything in the universe is loud. Not every ending is dramatic. Some endings come slowly and gently, like day turning into night. Just like the way we drift into sleep, the first stars of the universe also carry a special beauty. They appeared when the universe was still young and simple. Their light began its journey long before Earth existed. Some of them vanished billions of years ago, yet their light is still traveling. When we look at the night sky, some of the points of light we see may no longer exist. We are seeing their memory. This thought feels deep and quiet. It reminds us that in the universe, everything leaves a trace. Even when a star is gone, its light continues. In some way, this is like memory in the human mind. What has passed does not disappear completely. It remains softly, quietly, like distant stars. As your mind drifts through these images, a slow rhythm begins to form. The universe does not hurry. Even its most extreme objects do not hurry. They form over millions of years. They change over billions, and they fade into silence beyond measure. That slow rhythm begins to move within you, as you imagine a star becoming a neutron star, or a star quietly fading. Your mind softens. The thoughts of the day move farther away. Worries lose their sharpness. Only a gentle drifting remains, like floating in a dark but peaceful space. Perhaps in daily life we rarely think of things so vast. But at night, when everything is quiet, these images of the universe, because there everything is slow, everything is distant, and nothing needs to hurry. These objects, so heavy they challenge all understanding, no longer feel overwhelming. Instead, they become symbols of depth. Depth that does not need to be fully understood, only felt. Like looking into a night ocean, you do not need to know how deep it is, only that it is calm. Gradually, the images of slowly spinning neutron stars, silent black holes, and ancient stars long faded begin to blend together. They are no longer distant objects. They become slow, steady, gentle movements within the mind. And in that slowness, you can let your body relax a little more. Your breathing deepens. Your heartbeat slows. like a star that is slowly dimming, not because it is lost, but because its journey is complete. Somewhere in the universe, stars are still being born. Somewhere else, stars are quietly ending. Everything continues without noise, without hurry. And you right now are part of that stillness. Just close your eyes and imagine yourself drifting through deep space. Nothing is required. Nothing needs to be done. Only distant points of light, soft and quiet, continuing to exist. And in that endless calm, your mind can slowly rest like a star that has shone long enough now, gently fading into the soft darkness. As your mind continues to drift among these distant images, a strange feeling begins to appear, the sense that everything, no matter how vast, is moving within a quiet order. Neutron stars turning in the darkness, black holes, holding light ancient stars long faded. All of them exist like slow heartbeats of a great body, of which we are only a small part. From Jung's perspective, these extreme images are not only physical phenomena, they are deep symbols of the human mind. A black hole can feel like the symbol of the deepest unconscious, a place we cannot see clearly but know is there. A neutron star can feel like compressed memory carrying the weight of the past. And stars fading in silence can feel like chapters of life gently closing. There is something very gentle in knowing that the universe is not only filled with violent explosions, it also holds long moments of silence, regions where nothing happens for millions of years. No sound, no movement, only existence. And that existence brings peace. Imagine drifting slowly through a dark space that is not frightening, but soft like a blanket. Far away, a star turns slowly. Even farther, a faint glow marks a galaxy moving gently. Everything happens too slowly for the eye to notice, but if you are patient, you can feel its rhythm. The universe is not in a hurry. Even its heaviest, strongest, most intense objects are not in a hurry. They form over spans of time the human mind can barely imagine. And perhaps that is why thinking about them before sleep makes the mind slow down. The busy thoughts of the day grow distant. The things that once felt heavy no longer seem so large. Compared to a star that has existed for billions of years, our worries become very small. And that smallness brings relief. It feels like setting things down, like resting. Some stars die without anyone ever seeing them. No one is there to witness their final light. Yet their existence is not meaningless. In fact, the silence makes them more beautiful. A beauty that does not need to be seen, does not need to be recognized. It simply exists and then fades. And perhaps human beings are the same. Each person carries quiet, hidden parts that no one sees. And yet those hidden parts give depth to the soul. Listening to stories about the universe, we are not only learning about stars, we are learning to listen to the silence within ourselves. Somewhere in spacelight takes millions of years to reach where it is going. And in the human mind, emotions are like that too. Some feelings we sense today began long ago. Some memories are old and distant, yet still present, like the light of a star that has faded. Thinking about this creates a gentle connection between us and the universe. Not something grand or mystical. Just a simple feeling that everything exists together in the same slow rhythm. And as that rhythm moves inside you, your body relaxes more. Your shoulders soften. Your breathing becomes deeper and steadier. The images of neutron stars, black holes, and ancient stars begin to fade like distant lights in a dream. You do not need to understand them. You do not need to imagine them clearly. Just feel that somewhere out there, the universe continues to move slowly. And in that slowness, you too are entering a quiet state. Like a star that has burned for a long time, now gently settling, not disappearing but resting. And perhaps right now you are entering a moment just like that, a moment that is soft, deep, and very peaceful. Part 5. Phenomena that bend reality. To begin this part, imagine that you are drifting very slowly through the quiet vastness of space, where there is no sound, no urgency, only distant stars shimmering like ancient memories. In that place, the rules we are familiar with on Earth seem to no longer remain the same. Time does not flow evenly, light does not travel in simple straight lines, and space is no longer a motionless stage. Everything becomes soft, curved, and changing in ways that the human imagination has only just begun to touch. And within these phenomena, we do not only see physics, but also a deep reflection of how the human mind experiences reality. One of the strangest things in the universe is that time can slow down when near extremely heavy objects such as black holes. It sounds like something from a fairy tale, yet it is a truth proven by science. The closer one moves toward regions of strong gravity, the more time seems to stretch, slow, and soften. A second there may not be the same as a second far away. If we were to stand near a black hole while someone else remained far from it upon returning, we might discover that time had passed differently for each of us. But from Carl Jung's perspective, this image is not only a physical phenomenon, it is also a deeply meaningful symbol of the inner human experience. In everyday life, we too feel time in different ways. Some moments pass quickly, light as a breath. Others stretch on, slow and lingering, as if time itself has settled around us. When we are joyful, time seems to fly. When we are sad, each minute grows longer. And when we are at peace, time no longer feels important at all. Perhaps in a subtle way, the human mind has its own kind of gravity. Deep memories and powerful emotions are like regions of strong pull. When we move close to them, time inside the mind slows. An old memory may return in only a few seconds, yet the feeling may seem to last endlessly. A longing can make a night feel very long, and a peaceful moment can make everything around us seem to grow still. Light, which we often imagine traveling straight, can also be bent as it passes through heavy regions of space. When an object of enormous mass appears, it curves the space around it. And as light travels through that curved space, it bends along with it. Sometimes light from a distant star can be bent so much that it creates multiple images of the same source, as if a single star appears in many places at once. This image is strange but also very beautiful. It is much like the way memory works in the mind. An event from the past does not exist in only one place within our memory. It can appear in different forms at different times. A song, a scent, a soft afternoon light can bring back the same memory, yet each time it returns with a different feeling. According to Jung, the human mind is not a simple straight line. It is more like a vast space where images, symbols, and emotions bend and cross over one another. An experience can reflect through many layers of the unconscious, creating new meanings that we do not always recognize. And just as light is bent by gravity, the events of our lives can also be seen in different ways as we grow and change. Even space itself, which we once believed to be still and fixed, is actually expanding. Galaxies are slowly moving farther apart. The distance between everything is increasing, and strangely, this expansion can happen faster than the speed of light without breaking the laws of physics. Not because objects are traveling faster than light, but because the space between them is stretching. This idea is gentle, yet deeply meaningful. It brings the image of a universe that is constantly growing, constantly changing, constantly opening. And if we see it as an inner symbol, we may feel that the human mind is much the same. It does not stand still. It expands over time. Understanding, experience, and dreams slowly create more space within us. Things that once felt close may over time grow distant. Emotions that once felt strong may become softer, not because they disappear, but because the distance within us has changed. Our minds have grown just as the universe continues to grow, and in that expansion there is a very peaceful feeling. There is no need to hurry. Nothing needs to be held tightly. Everything simply changes in a slow, deep rhythm. Thoughts come and go. Memories appear and settle again. All of it is like galaxies slowly drifting apart in silence. When we think about time slowing near black holes, about light bending, about space expanding, we do not need to understand every scientific detail. We only need to feel that reality is not as rigid as we once thought. It is softer, more flexible, and sometimes very much like the way our own minds work. Perhaps that is why when listening to stories about the universe before sleep, we begin to feel lighter. The familiar rules of daytime begin to fade. Time is no longer urgent. Thoughts no longer race. Everything slows down, as if we are moving closer to a gentle field of gravity where all motion becomes soft and deep. Breathing slows. The body settles. Images of bending light and expanding space begin to blend into the gentle darkness behind closed eyes. And in that moment we realize that reality is not only what we see, it is also what we feel. Just as the universe quietly bends space and time, the human mind quietly creates its own worlds within. And each time we close our eyes, we drift into another space, a place where everything is no longer bound by familiar rules. There, time can slow. Memories can appear like distant light, and peace can spread softly and deeply like space itself expanding into silent darkness. And as we remain in that image for a little while longer, we may begin to feel that the phenomena that bend reality do not exist only in the distant universe. They also exist in very subtle ways within everyday human life. There are days when everything seems to pass quickly, as if time is being carried away by an invisible current. And there are nights, especially quiet nights like this, when time seems to slow, soften, and deepen, as if opening a private space where we can rest and listen to ourselves. In a Jungian way of seeing moments like these are like when consciousness steps back, allowing the unconscious to move gently forward. When we are no longer busy with the outer world, inner images begin to appear more clearly. A distant memory may return softly like light bent through space. An old emotion may come back, not heavy anymore, but gentler, as if it has traveled a very long way before returning. In the universe, light can take millions, even billions of years to reach where we stand. That means when we look up at the sky, we are not only seeing the present, we are looking into the past. The stars we see may have changed or even disappeared, yet their light continues its journey. In the same way, within the human mind, there are experiences from long ago whose light still remains. A sentence once heard in childhood, a warm embrace, a windy afternoon. Things that seem so distant, yet still exist quietly, and sometimes in the stillness before sleep, they gently return like the light of an ancient star finally reaching us. Perhaps that is why reality is never truly fixed. It is always bent slightly by memory, by emotion, by the way we see the world. Two people may stand in the same place, look at the same sky, yet each carries a different universe within. Time, space, and perception blend together, forming a reality that is deeply personal. And when we think about space expanding, we can imagine our minds gently expanding too. The worries of the day slowly drift away like galaxies moving apart. Dense thoughts begin to thin, and in that open space, a soft quiet begins to appear. This quiet is not emptiness. It is like a wide open space where we can relax without needing to do anything. No need to understand everything, no need to control everything, only to let the body rest and let the mind drift gently like light traveling through the soft curve of space. Imagine each of your thoughts as a small ray of light. It appears, moves for a moment, then fades into the darkness. No need to hold on, no need to follow, just let it pass, like light moving through the curved fabric of the universe. The more we let go, the more we feel that reality is not rigid as we once believed. It is flexible, gentle, and always holds space for rest. Just as space continues to expand in silence, the mind can also expand in the quiet of the night. Somewhere far away, stars are still moving. Light is still bending around great masses. Time is still flowing in different rhythms. But here, right now, you only need to feel your breath slowing, your body growing lighter, your thoughts drifting farther away. Reality can bend, time can slow, and in this very quiet moment you can allow yourself to slow down too. Just be here, just rest, just let everything drift away softly and deeply like a stream of light passing through the endless universe. Part 6. The invisible things surrounding us. If we remain still a little longer, when the night has grown deep and all sounds have faded far away, we may begin to sense something very strange and very gentle around us. There are countless things existing that we cannot see. Not only air, not only the warmth or the breeze, but invisible streams of the universe passing through our bodies every second, every moment, so softly that we never notice. Scientists say that dark matter, the substance that makes up most of the mass of the universe, may be passing through us right now. It makes no sound, leaves no trace, carries no sensation. It simply drifts like an unseen river, like the quiet breath of space. And somewhere tiny neutrinos born in the core of the sun and from distant star explosions are also passing through the Earth, through our bodies, billions every second without us ever feeling them. At first, this idea may feel strange, but if we listen to it with a calm mind, we may realize that this invisibility brings a very gentle comfort. It reminds us that the world is not only what our eyes can see. There is a deeper, wider, softer layer surrounding us, always present, always moving, yet never disturbing. From Jung's perspective, humans do not live only in the physical world, but also in an invisible ocean of symbols, emotions, and memories. Just as dark matter exists unseen, much of the human mind lies in places we cannot directly observe. The unconscious, ancient memories, feelings not yet named, all of them are like an inner universe, always quietly in motion. When we think about dark matter, we can imagine it as the hidden parts of ourselves, the thoughts we never speak, the emotions we once felt but could not explain, the memories we thought we had forgotten but still exist somewhere. They do not disappear. They simply become invisible. And like dark matter, those invisible parts may shape much of our lives. Perhaps that is why night always brings a sense of depth. When light fades, when the outside world grows quiet, the invisible things begin to feel closer. Not to frighten us, but to remind us that we live in a space far larger than what we see each day. Imagine that right now as you lie still, neutrinos are passing through your body like threads of faint light. They come from distant places, perhaps from stars that faded long ago. They have traveled millions, billions of years, and now they simply pass through you for a moment before continuing on their journey. There is something very beautiful in that thought. It reminds us that we are not separate from the universe. We are within it, and the universe is moving through us every second, every minute, in a very gentle way. In the same way, thoughts in our minds also come and go. A thought appears, stays for a moment, then fades. An emotion touches us, then quietly leaves. We do not need to hold everything. We do not need to understand everything. We only need to let them pass, like invisible particles passing through the body. When we accept the existence of things we cannot see, we learn to let go. We no longer try to control everything. We no longer need to understand every answer. We simply trust that there are quiet forces at work holding the world together. Most of the universe is invisible. Most of the human mind is too. And yet those unseen things create the depth of life. You may not see your breath, but you feel its gentleness. You may not see memory, but you know it is there like a quiet current. You may not see love, but you know it exists real and deep. Invisible things are not empty. They are the foundation. When we think of dark matter, we can imagine it like an unseen frame holding galaxies together. And in life there may be similar frames, things we cannot see but that support us, a warm memory, a person who once stood beside us, a deep sense of safety we cannot quite name. These things do not appear clearly, yet they are always there. And as you lie in the night, body slowly relaxing, mind slowly settling, you may begin to feel a very gentle presence. Not a sound, not a light, but a feeling of being held by something larger. The universe is still moving. Invisible particles are still drifting. Currents of energy are still passing through space. But everything happens in perfect silence. That silence is like a soft blanket. It asks nothing of you. It simply surrounds you, supports you, and reminds you that you can rest. You do not need to see everything to know it exists. You do not need to understand everything to allow yourself to relax. Just feel that you are here, lying in a vast space where billions of invisible things are quietly passing by, yet they do not harm you, do not disturb you. They simply pass like wind moving through a night field. Let your body grow a little lighter. Let your thoughts drift like neutrinos passing through the earth. No need to hold them, no need to cling. Just let them come and go, and in that drifting, a peaceful space will slowly appear. A space that is gentle, deep, and safe. There, you do not need to do anything at all. You only need to rest. And as you remain in that stillness a little longer, you may begin to feel something very subtle that you rarely notice. The world does not exist only outside you. It is also flowing through you, blending into each breath, each heartbeat, each small moment of life. Those invisible particles, dark matter, neutrinos, faint waves of energy do not disturb. They do not startle. They simply pass like distant memories drifting across the mind in a dream. And perhaps it is that silence that makes us feel safe. Carl Jung once said that much of what shapes a person lies in what cannot be seen. The unconscious, the deep layers of the soul, the ancient memories passed through time all exist like an ocean within us. We cannot see it yet, we live in it every day. And in some way, the universe outside is similar. Most of it is invisible. Yet that unseen part holds everything together. It may feel gentle to think that in this moment as you rest, billions of tiny particles have traveled a very long journey to reach here. They have crossed dark space, passed through galaxies, traveled across distances almost impossible to imagine. And then they simply touch the earth, glide through your body and continue on. Their presence makes no sound, leaves no trace. Yet it reminds us that we are part of a much larger flow, a flow that did not begin today and will not end here. And in a strange way, that can make the mind slow down. When we realize that the universe is so vast and still operates in silence, we can allow ourselves to slow down too. No need to think too much, no need to understand everything. Just be here in this moment. Imagine your mind as the night sky. Thoughts are like stars. Some brighten then fade. Some emotions appear then dissolve. But behind it all, there is always a wide, quiet space. That space is like the dark matter of the soul, unseen yet supporting everything. As you breathe more slowly, your body begins to follow that rhythm. Your heart softens. Your shoulders relax. The small muscles in your face begin to rest. And in this silence, you may feel as though you are drifting slowly in an invisible ocean where nothing needs to hurry. You may not hear the sound of the stars, but you can imagine that somewhere far away, they are vibrating softly. Those vibrations travel across space, across billions of light years, and merge into the quiet of the night. And in that quiet, you are there too. A very small part of the universe, yet a very real one. No need to do anything. No need to think further. Just feel that invisible things are protecting you, supporting you, and keeping the world moving forward. Like breath that continues without effort. Like the heart that keeps beating without command. Everything is happening naturally, and you can allow yourself to drift with that natural flow. If a thought appears, let it pass. If a memory touches you, let it quietly move on. Like invisible particles passing through you now, not stopping, not disturbing, only gliding through and fading into the vastness. You are in a safe space, a quiet space, a space where everything slows. And when you stay in that quiet long enough, sleep will come very gently. Not suddenly, not urgently, but like a thin mist slowly covering the mind. Let your eyes grow heavier. Let your breath slow. Let your body sink into the soft bed, as if supported by the stillness of the universe itself. Outside, billions of invisible things are still moving, but here, right now, everything is quiet enough for you to rest. Part 9. The quiet sounds of the stars. When night falls and the world gradually becomes still, there is something strange that we rarely notice. The universe has never truly been silent. In that vast expanse, stars are still vibrating, galaxies are still shifting, and invisible waves are spreading through space like a slow, deep, endless piece of music. We cannot hear them with our ears, but that does not mean they do not exist. If we could listen in another way, through imagination, through inner stillness, we might feel that the universe is still singing in a very gentle and ancient way. Each star is not a motionless sphere of light. Inside them there are constant movements, layers of burning matter, expanding and contracting, vibrating and rising like slow waves. Scientists call these pressure oscillations pulses that move through the body of a star, much like sound travels through air. If those vibrations could be turned into sounds that humans could hear, we would realize that each star has its own voice. Some vibrate slowly and deeply like a long, low tone. Others vibrate more quickly like thin, bright notes. It is not music in the way we usually understand it, but a kind of profound rhythm, a continuous trembling of energy and matter. Thinking about this in the moments before sleep brings a very unusual feeling. While your room is quiet, while your breathing is slowly calming somewhere far away, stars are still resonating like enormous bells. No one hears them, no one applauds, no one witnesses. Yet they continue to vibrate, continue to shine, continue to exist in their own rhythm. There is a deep beauty in that quiet persistence, a beauty that does not need recognition, does not need to be seen simply existing as it is. Carl Jung once said that within each person there are deep layers we rarely reach. Memories, emotions, and faint thoughts move within the unconscious like currents beneath the surface. Perhaps the vibrations of the stars are like that. We do not hear them, but they are there. We are not aware of them, but they still shape how we feel about vastness, about existence, about ourselves. Even farther away in deep space, there are movements so powerful that they send waves across the universe. When two black holes collide, when two neutron stars spiral together and merge, they shake the very fabric of space and time. These tremors are called gravitational waves. They are not sound, but they carry energy, carrying traces of events that happened long ago. These waves can take millions, even billions of years to reach where we are. That means that right now, echoes of the past are still passing through the Earth. Ancient collisions, violent moments that happened before humans even existed, are still quietly spreading through space. They are like ripples on water after a stone is dropped. Even long after the moment has passed, the waves continue to move outward. And somewhere very deep and very far in the past, there is the oldest echo the universe still carries. It is the trace of the moment of birth, when everything began to expand, when the first light appeared, when space and time began to exist. Light from that time still surrounds us. Very faint, very subtle, yet still present. It is like a whisper from the past, reminding us that everything began from a very small, very hot, very bright point. If we listen with the heart, we can imagine that the universe is holding on to its own memories. The vibrations of stars, the gravitational waves, the ancient light, all of them are like layers of memory resting upon one another. And in that, there is a strange resemblance to the human mind. Within each of us, there are echoes too. Childhood memories, emotions that have passed, moments we thought we had forgotten. They do not disappear. They simply grow quieter, sinking deeper inside. But sometimes in very still, very slow moments, we can feel them, like a gentle ripple, like a distant echo. Perhaps that is why thinking about the universe before sleep brings such peace, because it reminds us that not everything needs to be clear. Not everything needs to be heard. Some things only need to exist. Imagine that as you lie down and close your eyes, beyond you is a vast space, vibrating in a slow rhythm. Stars are singing through light and motion. Gravitational waves are quietly passing by, like invisible winds. And deeper still, the universe continues to hold the first echo of its beginning. None of it is loud. None of it is hurried. It is all very gentle, very deep, very long, like the rhythm of your heart as you begin to relax, like your breath as your body starts to soften. In this moment, you can let your mind drift with the thought that you are lying inside a great piece of music, a piece with no clear melody, no lyrics, yet full of rhythm, a music made of stars, of space, of time, and you do not need to do anything at all. Just listen to the quiet. Just feel your breath. Just know that somewhere in the universe the vibrations continue gently and endlessly. Just like within you, deep currents are slowly becoming softer, slower, and more fluid. And then as everything grows very still, very light, you can let yourself drift into sleep as if dissolving into an ancient song that the universe has been humming since the beginning. And if you remain still a little longer, you may imagine yourself drifting through that vast space where there is no noise, no urgency, only the slow movement of light and time. Everything happens gently there. A star may take millions of years to change. A galaxy may need billions of years to complete a single rotation. Every movement carries a deep rhythm like a long breath of the universe. Carl Jung once said that humans carry within themselves a part of the infinite. When we look up at the night sky, the feeling of awe comes not only from distance, but from the realization that within us there are also bottomless depths. The vibrations of the stars in some way reflect the very quiet vibrations of the human soul. When we listen to the stillness outside, we also begin to hear the stillness within. Imagine that each breath you take now is like a small wave, breathing in, as if you are drawing the whole night sky into your chest, breathing out, as if you are letting yourself drift into a soft and gentle space. There is no need to try to sleep, no need to force yourself into silence. Just let everything slow naturally. Out there, the stars continue to vibrate in the darkness. Some stars are very young, just born from vast clouds of dust. Others are old, their light slowly fading. But at every stage, they continue to shine, to pulse, to add their part to the quiet music of the universe. And strangely, the light from the stars you see tonight may have left them a very long time ago, perhaps hundreds of years ago, perhaps thousands. You are seeing the past, yet feeling it in the present. It is much like the way memory works in the human mind. An image, a feeling from long ago sometimes returns gently and unexpectedly, like a star quietly appearing in the night sky. In sleep, the mind does something similar. It rearranges memories. It softens tension. It heals what has not yet been spoken. And perhaps in the deepest moments of sleep, the human mind is vibrating in a rhythm very similar to that of the universe, slow, deep, and peaceful. Notice if your body feels lighter now, if your shoulders have relaxed more, if your breath has grown deeper. There is nothing more you need to do. Just lie there as if you are being supported by a very large, very gentle space. Because in a very real way, you are being supported. The earth is turning softly beneath you. The planet is moving around the Sunday. The sun is drifting through the galaxy, and the galaxy is moving through the universe. Everything is in motion, yet you feel calm. That shows that stillness is not when everything stops, but when we accept the natural rhythm of movement. Perhaps that is the deepest feeling the universe offers, the sense that everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to. There is no need to hurry, no need to worry, no need to control. Just relax. Just close your eyes and let the quiet sounds of the stars of space of time become a distant, soft, gentle background behind your sleep, as if you are drifting slowly in an ocean without waves, as if you are being held by the softness of the night, as if the whole universe is whispering everything is all right. And in this moment you do not need to think about anything else. Just rest. Part 10. The universe in the distant past. Try to imagine that on a very quiet night, as you look up at the sky, those tiny, shimmering points of light do not belong to the present. The light you see did not just leave the stars. It began its journey long ago, from times when humans did not yet exist, when the earth was still changing its shape, when ancient forests covered the planet. Some rays of light have traveled for millions, even billions of years, crossing endless space to reach the eyes, quietly opening in the night your eyes. That means each time we look up at the sky, we are not only seeing space, but also time. We are looking into the past, witnessing stories that happened long ago, touching moments that passed before the memory of humanity even began. From Carl Jung's perspective, the past never truly disappears. It continues to live within us like a deep layer of memory beneath consciousness. When we look at the night sky, perhaps what brings peace is not only the beauty of the stars, but the feeling of connection to something very ancient, very vast. That ancient light is like the old memories of the universe, still spreading, still telling its story in a very gentle way. Think about this for a moment. When you see a galaxy billions of light years away, the shape you see may no longer exist. That galaxy may have changed, may have collided with another, may have dissolved or become something entirely new. But its light, its image from that distant moment is still traveling and finally reaches you. You are seeing something that once existed, much like remembering a childhood memory, not the present yet, still real, still alive in the mind. This makes the universe like a vast book, where each star, each galaxy, is a page written by time, and telescopes, in a way, are keys that open those ancient pages. When humans point their lenses to the sky, they are not only looking farther into space, but farther back into time. Each step into distance is also a step into the past. The stronger the telescope, the older the images, we can see closer to the moment when the universe first began to glow. There is something poetic in the thought that we are living among drifting images of time. Light from distant stars is like letters sent from the past, taking millions of years to arrive. And when you look up, you are reading those letters in silence. No words, no sound, just faint light touching your eyes, carrying messages from another age. Jung once said that deep within the human mind are ancient images, primal symbols that existed long before we were born. Perhaps the feeling of looking at the sky is like touching those deep layers of memory, a feeling both unfamiliar and familiar, small yet embraced. When you know that the light touching you now began its journey long ago, you may begin to feel time differently. The worries of today grow smaller, the tensions of the present soften, because compared to a journey of billions of years, a single day of ours is just a very brief, very light moment. And this does not make life meaningless. Instead, it makes everything gentler. You do not need to hurry. You do not need to strain to understand everything. The universe does not hurry either. It is patient beyond imagination. A galaxy may take hundreds of millions of years to change. A star may live billions of years before slowly fading. Everything unfolds slowly, deeply, quietly. Perhaps that is why looking at the night sky always feels relaxing. It draws the mind away from small loops of thought and carries it into a wider space. There, time is not urgent. There, everything moves in a slow, steady rhythm. You can imagine each star as a clock, but one that measures not seconds but millions of years. And as you lie here listening to this story of ancient light, your breath also begins to slow. Your body begins to follow that deeper rhythm. Imagine that in this moment you are surrounded by the light of the past, light from stars that have died, light from galaxies that have changed, light from places far beyond reach, and in some way all of it is here now, softly touching the earth, touching the night sky, touching your eyes as they gently close. And perhaps the most beautiful part of all this is realizing that you yourself are part of that stream of time. The atoms in your body were once formed in ancient stars. You carry a piece of the universe's past in every cell. You are not just an observer, you are part of the story. When that thought settles, it brings a deep sense of peace. No more feeling separate, no more feeling lost, only a gentle connection between you and the endless space beyond. And just as light has traveled a long journey to arrive here, you can allow yourself to take a gentle journey into sleep. No need to hurry, no need to try. Just drift slowly like a ray of light moving quietly through darkness, carrying its own story. And if we think a little deeper, we may realize that looking into the past of the universe is much like looking into the deepest layers of the human mind. From Jung's perspective, the mind is not only the thoughts we are aware of each day, but a vast ocean of memory where ancient images quietly remain. The universe is the same. It carries traces of everything that has ever happened, stored in light, in stardust, in the slow movements of galaxies. Each time we look up at the night sky, we may unconsciously connect with that primal feeling, the sense of vastness of something beyond ourselves. And that feeling often brings peace, because when we stand before something so large we cannot fully grasp it, the small worries within us begin to soften. Imagine that somewhere very far away, a star is quietly shining. Its light began its journey when the first civilizations on Earth had not yet formed. It traveled through cold emptiness, through clouds of cosmic dust, across silent regions of space. And then after a journey almost impossible to imagine, it reaches this planet, reaches the night sky, reaches the moment where you are lying here listening. There is something very gentle in that journey. No hurry, no noise, just a slow, patient movement. Perhaps that slowness is what makes the universe such a perfect place to rest the mind before sleep. When we think about time stretching across billions of years, we begin to feel a deeper rhythm of existence. A rhythm that is not rushed, not tense, but flowing like soft waves. You may notice that as you listen about distant distances, ancient galaxies and light that has traveled for millions of years, your breathing begins to slow. Your body relaxes. Your mind gently moves away from the repeated thoughts of the day. In their place comes a feeling of openness, as if drifting through space. Deep within humans always seek a sense of belonging to something larger. Jung called this connection to the whole, the sense that we are not separate from the world but part of it. And when we look at the night sky, that feeling becomes clear. You are not only looking at the universe, you are looking at your own origin. The atoms that make up your body were once born in ancient stars. Exploding stars created the elements, and over billions of years those elements gathered together to form planets, oceans, life, and eventually, you. Seen this way, every time you look up at the sky, it is like a silent reunion between you and the place where you once began. This thought does not make us feel small. Instead, it brings warmth, as if we are always connected, always held within a story greater, longer, deeper. And in this moment, as you listen, you do not need to understand everything. You do not need to imagine every galaxy, every distance, every number. Just let your mind drift with the feeling of vastness. Let yourself be gently carried like a leaf float. Somewhere far away, a galaxy may be colliding with another. Somewhere a star may be quietly fading. Somewhere light is beginning new journeys. But here in this moment, everything is calm. The earth is turning slowly. The space around you is quiet. And you are in the middle of it all, safe, supported by the steady motion of the planet. Notice your breath. Breathe in softly and breathe out slowly. Imagine each breath as a small wave merging into the vast ocean of the universe. No effort, no control. Just let the body find its way into rest. Light from the past continues to travel. Time continues to unfold. But in this moment you can pause, you can relax. You can allow yourself to slow down just as the universe has always moved slowly across billions of years. And as the mind becomes quiet, thoughts begin to fade. Images drift away like distant galaxies, slowly disappearing from view. All that remains is peace, a sense of being supported by a vast, gentle, endless space. Part 11. The distant future of the universe. As the distant night grows deeper and the outside world slows, the human mind often turns toward questions that feel distant and ancient. One of those questions is, where is the universe going? If it had a beginning, will it also have an ending? And if so, how will that ending unfold? In this gentle journey of thought before sleep, Thinking about the far future of the universe does not bring fear. Instead, it feels like drifting into a very slow, very wide current where everything gradually becomes softer and quieter. From Carl Jung's perspective, humans are always drawn to images of beginnings and endings, because deep in the unconscious we sense that all life exists within a greater cycle, a rhythm we understand only in part. Scientists believe the universe is still expanding. Galaxies are not standing still. They are slowly drifting away from one another, like small boats separating across an endless ocean. This movement happens so slowly that within a human lifetime, it cannot be noticed. But over billions of years, the distances between galaxies will grow larger, and the light from the most distant ones will no longer reach us. One day in a far future, the night sky for distant beings may become much emptier, as galaxies beyond our local group drift too far away to be seen. At first, this thought may feel heavy, but if we look deeper, it carries a quiet beauty. The universe does not seem to end with a great explosion or sudden event. Instead, it slowly expands gently like a long breath, stretching across trillions of years. In that rhythm, the stars will also change. Today, there are still vast clouds of gas where new stars are born. But over time, that material will slowly run out. A time may come when new stars are no longer formed. The old stars will fade one by one like small lamps slowly going dark in the deep night. Try to imagine this as a scene very, very far in the future. Not a sudden moment, but a process so long it is hard to grasp. Light will grow rarer. Regions once bright will become quiet. Great stars will complete their lives, leaving behind cold remnants. And then, as less and less new energy is created, the universe may enter a state scientists call heat death, a perfect balance, where everything becomes cold, slow, and still. When we hear the word ending, we often feel uneasy, but if we feel it in another way, we may sense a strange peace. It is not the end of a story in a tragic sense. It is more like the close of a long day, when everything slowly falls into sleep. Jung said that deep in the unconscious there are images of cycles, birth, growth, and a quiet return. That image repeats in nature, in life, and perhaps even in the universe itself. Thinking about the distant future of the universe can help us realize something gentle. Everything unfolds within a rhythm far greater than us. The small worries of the day, the things that trouble us, become lighter when placed beside the timescales of the universe. Not because they do not matter, but because we see that everything has its place, its time, and will eventually pass. Perhaps trillions of years from now, light will grow thin. Galaxies will drift so far apart they can no longer be seen. The last stars will fade. But even that vision is not frightening. It is like the surface of a lake becoming perfectly still late at night. No ripples, no clear motion, only deep quiet. Within the human mind, we also have moments like this. After a long day when thoughts settle and emotions calm, the mind enters a very still space. Not empty, but peaceful. Perhaps that is why imagining a universe slowly calming, slowly softening feels so familiar. It is like a vast reflection of what we experience each night as we fall asleep. You can imagine the universe as one long breath, an inhale lasting billions of years when stars are born and light spreads everywhere, and an exhale lasting billions more when everything slowly becomes quiet. In that rhythm, nothing is rushed, nothing is sudden, only a slow, deep, continuous motion. And in this present moment, you are here, at a very small point in that great story. The atoms in your body were created in ancient stars. You are part of the universe's history. A moment where the universe becomes aware of itself. That does not make us feel small, it makes us feel connected. Perhaps one day, far in the future, when all light has faded, the universe will become quieter than anything we can imagine. But right now, it is still full of motion. Stars are still burning. Galaxies are still turning. Light is still traveling through space, touching the eyes that look up into the night. And you in this moment only need to listen. You do not need to understand everything. just feel the slow rhythm of the universe, the slow rhythm of time, the slow rhythm of breath. Perhaps thinking about a distant future where everything grows quiet is like letting go of the last thoughts before sleep. Not a loss, but a return to stillness. A stillness that is gentle, warm, and safe. And in that stillness, you can let your body relax a little more. Let your eyes rest. Let your mind drift slowly. Just as galaxies slowly drift apart, thoughts can drift away too gently and without hurry. The universe continues its journey, a journey that is very long, very deep, and very quiet. And in that journey, you are here in a very small but very beautiful moment. A moment to rest, to relax, and to slowly fall asleep, wrapped in the feeling of being held by a vast, silent, and peaceful space. When we think about the distant future of the universe, it does not bring images of noise or chaos. Instead, it brings a feeling that is slow, deep, and still. Imagine a night sky with fewer stars, not because they vanish at once, but because the distances between them grow greater. Light must travel farther, and there will be places it can no longer reach. Space grows wider and quieter, as if the universe itself is breathing more slowly. In that future, galaxies will continue to drift. Familiar star clusters will no longer hold the same shapes. But all of this change happens very slowly, like clouds moving across an endless afternoon. No hurry, no break, just a continuous flow across spans of time the human mind can hardly grasp. From Jung's perspective, humans always seek meaning in great cycles. We feel the change of seasons, the turning of day into night, and we grow age and rest. These cycles reflect themselves in the universe on a larger scale. The birth of stars, the fading of light, the slow expansion of space, all of it is like a deep rhythm of existence. Perhaps in a very distant future, as stars fade, the universe will become darker, colder, but also quieter. Fewer bright lights, fewer strong motions, only deep stillness, like the surface of the sea on a windless night. And strangely, when we think of that, we do not have to feel sadness, because within that stillness there is a gentle beauty. It is like when a piece of music ends, the last sound fades into space, and then only silence remains. Yet it is that silence that allows us to feel what has just passed. Perhaps the future of the universe is like that, not an abrupt ending, but a deep settling, long and soft. And as you lie here listening to stories of stars, of time, of expanding space, you may feel something simple. You are not separate from this story. You are part of it. The atoms in your body once burned inside ancient stars. They traveled across billions of years, through countless changes to become part of you in this moment. That means that no matter how the universe changes, no matter how far the future stretches, you still belong to it. And in a deep way, the universe also exists within you. Thinking about that can calm the mind. The worries of the day grow smaller. The things that trouble you feel lighter. Because when placed beside billions of years of time, everything eventually passes like stars, quietly fading in endless space. And perhaps that is the greatest gift of reflecting on the universe before sleep. Not knowledge or numbers, but a feeling of being placed within a rhythm that is very slow, very deep. A rhythm that makes the breath steady, the body lighter, the mind softer. Out there, the universe continues its journey. Galaxies still drift, stars still burn, and far in the future, light may slowly fade. But right now, in this quiet moment, you only need to relax and drift with that slow rhythm. Just as the universe slowly expands in silence, your mind can open into a peaceful space, a place without urgency, without tension, only a gentle, deep calm. And in that space, you can slowly fall into sleep, carrying the feeling that you are being held by something vast, ancient, and kind. Part 12. Unanswered Possibilities. As night slowly falls, and the sounds of the outside world begin to fade, perhaps this is the most suitable moment for the human mind to touch its deepest questions. In that stillness, we do not only think about our own lives, but sometimes we sense something much larger present around us. The universe, with all of its unsolved mysteries, is like a vast dream that humanity has only begun to touch at the surface. And in that journey of discovery, there are ideas, both strange and gentle ideas, that do not bring fear, but instead allow the heart to become quieter as we reflect. One of the deepest questions modern science is asking, is this universe everything? It is possible that other universes exist parallel to our own, quietly present where we cannot see them. At first, this idea may sound distant, but it carries a very special kind of beauty. It reminds us that reality may be far greater than what we can reach with our senses. Perhaps somewhere in another dimension, different laws of physics are at work, other stars are burning, and other forms of life exist in ways completely unfamiliar to us. From Jung's perspective, humans always carry within them a need to search for meaning beyond personal limits. When we think about the possibility of multiple universes, it is not only a scientific question, but also a reflection within the mind. It is like realizing that inside each person there are many different worlds, memories, dreams, layers of consciousness and unconsciousness existing side by side. The idea of parallel universes, in some way, is also a gentle symbol of the richness of the inner life. Some theories suggest that our universe may have been born from another, like a seed planted into endless space. If that is true, then our existence is not a single beginning, but part of a long, continuous chain. Each universe may be only one chapter in a much greater story, a story that human understanding is still trying to read slowly, line by line. Thinking about this before sleep can bring a strange kind of peace. It reminds us that we do not have to understand everything. There are things that exist beyond our awareness, and that does not make the world frightening but deeper. Just as when we look up at the night sky, we do not need to know the name of every star to feel its beauty. We only need to look to breathe and to let the mind drift gently into that vastness. Another idea, quiet yet mysterious, is the possibility that space itself may have structure at its smallest level, as if it were woven from extremely delicate threads. We often think of space as completely empty, but perhaps at its deepest layer, it is not as empty as we imagine. It may be like an invisible fabric where everything is connected and supported. If we imagine more carefully, we might picture space like a still surface of water. When nothing happens, it appears completely calm. But deep beneath, there are tiny, subtle movements that the eye cannot see. Perhaps from those small movements the entire universe was formed. And this thought, rather than confusing us, can bring a sense of support, as if we are resting upon something vast and steady. One of the strangest, yet most poetic ideas is the possibility that the universe may be like a hologram, a three-dimensional image created from a deeper layer we cannot directly see. This does not mean the world is not real. It simply suggests that reality may be more complex and layered than we perceive. From a psychological point of view, this idea resembles how Jung described the deep unconscious in the human mind. What we see on the surface, thoughts, emotions, actions, may only be the visible layer. Beneath it are deeper levels where ancient memories, symbols, and instincts quietly exist. And in the same way, perhaps the universe we see is only the surface of a far deeper reality. These ideas do not need to be proven immediately to have meaning. Sometimes simply reflecting on what has not yet been answered brings a special feeling. It slows the mind. It opens a space within, where we do not need to rush for answers, but only feel the vastness of the questions. In the moments before sleep, when everything becomes quiet, we can let these thoughts drift through the mind like soft clouds. Perhaps there are many universes. Perhaps space is woven from invisible structures. Perhaps reality is deeper than what we see. But none of this makes us feel smaller. Instead, it makes us feel that we are part of something immense and mysterious. And sometimes it is that mystery itself that brings comfort, because it reminds us that life is not a story already finished. It is still unfolding little by little, just as the universe continues expanding each moment. We do not need to understand everything right now. We only need to exist, to feel, and to let the mind rest within that vastness. As you lie quietly listening to these thoughts, you may begin to feel a gentle softness spreading, as if you are drifting through a very wide, very still space where every question is held gently. There is no pressure to answer, no urgency, only the presence of something deep quietly holding everything. And in that stillness, perhaps you will realize that not knowing everything is also part of the beauty. It opens space for imagination. It allows the mind to rest. It allows you to drift into sleep with the feeling that the universe, however mysterious, is moving in a very gentle way. Somewhere in depths not yet understood, other worlds may exist. But right now, the most important thing is the present moment. Your breath slowing, your body relaxing, and your mind, after wandering through vast thoughts, beginning to find its own peace. Like the universe, you do not need to understand everything about yourself to rest. Just let go and allow the stillness to gently carry you into sleep. When we allow the mind to drift a little farther, ideas of other universes, other dimensions, and invisible structures of reality begin to feel like soft waves touching the shore of thought. There is no need to understand everything, no need to imagine too clearly. Just know that beyond us, there may be things far greater than what we have ever known. And strangely, that feeling does not make us feel lost. It makes us feel held within something vast. Carl Jung once said that humans always carry a need to connect with something greater than themselves. When we think about the universe, we touch a very ancient symbol, the symbol of infinity, of creation and transformation. For thousands of years, humans have looked at the night sky and felt something familiar even if they could not name it. It is the feeling of belonging here, even if only as a very small part. Perhaps that is why when we think about unanswered questions, we do not feel uneasy. Instead, the mind becomes calmer. Like looking out at the ocean on a quiet night. We cannot see, the whole sea cannot know how deep it is, but that vastness itself brings peace. The universe is like that. It does not ask us to understand it. It simply exists vast, quiet, patient. And within that existence it holds the past, the present, and possibilities not yet realized. Imagine that every star you see in the sky is a story still unfolding. Their light has traveled for millions, even billions of years to reach your eyes. That means when you look at the night sky, you are looking into the past. You are seeing moments that happened long ago yet are still echoing. Perhaps somewhere light from Earth is also leaving quietly, carrying the image of this planet into space. And maybe in some distant place that light will one day reach somewhere else. A place we do not know. A place where our story is being told in a completely different way. These thoughts do not need answers. They are like open dreams. And sometimes it is these open dreams that help the mind let go. Because when we realize the world is larger than what we can hold, we also allow ourselves to rest from trying to control everything. In this moment, you can simply lie still. Feel your breath slowing. Feel your body becoming lighter. And imagine that you are drifting through quiet space without gravity, without noise, surrounded only by calm. Space is not in a hurry. Time is not in a hurry. Everything unfolds slowly, like a very long and gentle piece of music. And within that music, you do not need to do anything at all. Just listen, just breathe, just let your mind drift with those gentle thoughts. You may not remember everything you have heard. And that is completely fine. Because the purpose of this journey is not to remember, but to feel. To let the mind relax. To let thoughts slow, soften, and dissolve into stillness. The universe is still expanding. Stars are still burning. Galaxies are still drifting past one another in near total silence. And here, on this small planet, you are lying down, closing your eyes, allowing yourself to rest. Perhaps somewhere far away, questions are still waiting for answers. But right now, you do not need to search anymore. Just sleep. Part 13. The connection between humans and the Bry universe. As the night grows quieter and the mind begins to slow, there is a gentle thought that humans have always felt, even if they could not always name it, that we are not separate from the universe, but deeply a part of it. The body you feel now, the breath rising and falling softly, the heart beating slowly in your chest. All of it is made from elements that once burned inside ancient stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in every breath, the carbon in every cell, all were formed in stellar explosions billions of years ago. That means in a very real way you are not only living on Earth, you are part of the history of the universe still continuing. From Jung's perspective, this carries a deep symbolic meaning. Jung often spoke about archetypes, ancient symbols that live within the human mind from long ago. And perhaps one of the deepest symbols is the sense of origin, the feeling that we belong to something older, larger, more vast. When we know our bodies are made from stardust, that thought touches a deep layer of the soul. It feels like a wordless memory, a quiet sense that we have been here for a very long time, even before we had names, before we had the form we have now. Imagine a great star burning for millions of years. Inside, its core atoms collide and merge, forming new elements. And then one day the star explodes, releasing its matter into space. Those fragments drift, gather, and form clouds of gas, then new planetary systems. And from those planets, after billions of years, life begins to grow. A long chain of changes, slow and patient. And finally a being appears who can think. A being who can look up at the sky and wonder, where did I come from? There is something sacred in that circle. The universe creates matter. Matter creates life. Life creates consciousness. And then consciousness begins to look back at the universe, as if the universe through humans is slowly becoming aware of itself. Jung believed that consciousness is not only an individual phenomenon. He believed there is a deeper layer where all human experience is connected. If we extend that thought, we can imagine human consciousness as a small point of light within a vast web of existence. Every thought, every emotion, every dream is a way the universe experiences itself. As you lie in the darkness, feeling your body relax, you can imagine that every cell within you carries an ancient story. A story that began before the Earth formed. A story that passed through exploding stars, through clouds of cosmic dust, through primordial oceans, through the first creatures that learned to breathe, to move, to live. And now that story continues within you. This does not need to feel overwhelming. Instead, it can bring a soft sense of comfort. Because if you are part of the universe, then you are never truly alone. You have never been separate. Every breath you take is oxygen that once passed through countless other living beings. Every drop of water in your body may once have been part of ancient oceans. Every atom in you once belonged to distant places. There is a quiet continuity in all of this. No clear beginning, no true ending. Only transformation, movement and continuation. When we think of this, we begin to see ourselves differently, not just as a person living in a short span of time, but as part of a long, flowing current. A current that has existed since the first stars began to shine. From Jung's perspective, the journey of understanding oneself is like exploring an inner universe. When we look deeply into the mind, we do not only find personal memories, but also images and emotions that seem to have existed for a very long time. There are fears, joys, and symbols that every culture has felt. As if within each person there is a part of a shared history. And if we listen long enough, quietly enough, we may begin to feel that connection. Not through words, not through reasoning, but through a very gentle, very deep feeling. Imagine that your consciousness is like a small flame, not too bright, not too loud, but it is burning. And through that flame, for a brief moment, the universe can see itself, can think, can feel. Perhaps that is why humans have always looked up at the night sky, not only out of curiosity, but because somewhere deep inside we feel that we belong there. The stars are not only distant points of light, they are like very old relatives who once helped shape us. And when we look at them, there is a familiar feeling that is hard to explain. A feeling like looking at the place we came from. In the quiet of the night, when everything slows, this thought becomes softer. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to imagine every detail. Just know that you are part of a very large story. a story that began long ago and is still continuing. Your body is resting, but inside, billions of cells are still working, like small stars in a tiny galaxy. Each cell carries information, carries memory of life, and together they form a quiet harmony. You are not only living in the universe, you are the universe living. And as that thought settles, it may bring a deep sense of peace. No need to hurry, no need to worry. Everything is moving in its own rhythm, just like stars being born and fading, just like galaxies drifting past one another in silence. You only need to lie here, in this moment. Breathe in slowly, breathe out gently, and feel that you are being supported by something vast, ancient, and gentle. A part of the universe is breathing within you, and a part of you belongs to the universe. And as you lie in the darkness, you may begin to feel something small yet profound, your body becoming lighter. Not because it disappears, but because the mind is slowly letting go of the thoughts of the day. Worries, plans, unfinished things, all begin to drift away like distant stars fading as we leave the city lights behind. In that quiet, imagine yourself drifting slowly through space, nowhere to go, simply existing, breathing, resting, and somewhere billions of stars are still burning in silence like distant heartbeats of something immense. Perhaps in some way the peace we feel when thinking about the universe is not accidental. Jung believed that humans always seek wholeness, a sense of returning to something greater. When we think about the universe, we touch that feeling. We realize we are not alone, not lost. We are part of an ongoing story, and in this moment you do not need to understand all the mysteries of the universe. You do not need to answer the great questions. Just feel that vastness like a soft blanket surrounding you, a vastness that is not frightening but gentle. Let your thoughts slow, like a star quietly shining in the night, like a galaxy turning slowly in the distance. And as your eyes grow heavy, as your breath becomes steady, you can let yourself drift very softly, very deeply, into sleep. Part 14. The Echoes Before Sleep. As the journey through the deep layers of the universe begins to close, what remains is not the enormous numbers, not the endless distances or strange phenomena, but a very soft, very quiet feeling, like a gentle breeze passing through the mind before sleep. The universe, in all its vastness, is not only a place filled with billions of galaxies, but also a deep space of silence. A silence that is not cold, not distant, but like invisible arms slowly holding everything that exists. Perhaps you have looked up at the night sky and felt very small. Yet in that smallness there is also something safe. Jung said that humans always seek archetypal images, ancient symbols that help us feel connected to the whole. And the universe, in its vastness and stillness, is one of the deepest symbols. It reminds us that we are not separate from this world. We are part of it. We were born from elements that once burned in ancient stars, and one day we will return to that great current. Yet the wonder is that even though the universe is always in motion, galaxies turning, stars forming and fading, planets drifting through endless space, all of it happens in almost complete silence. No sound, no noise, only the slow movement of light and matter. And in that silence there is a peace that is difficult to describe. Perhaps that is why thinking about the universe before sleep slows the mind. The hurried thoughts of the day grow smaller. Worries that once filled the mind begin to feel distant. When we place ourselves within the vast picture of space, we realize that everything eventually passes, like the light of a star that left its birthplace millions of years ago and continues its journey quietly. Imagine that you are drifting slowly through deep space. No pressure, no sound, nothing you need to do, only existence. Only your breath steady and gentle, and far away galaxies are still turning like endless circles of time. In that moment you may feel something familiar, something close. No matter how vast the universe is, it carries a slow, steady rhythm, the rhythm of formation and fading, the rhythm of light and darkness, the rhythm of beginnings and endings. And in some way that rhythm is like your own breathing. Jung believed that deep inside each person lies a part of the collective unconscious, an ancient memory where images and symbols of humanity are stored. When we look at the night sky, perhaps we are touching a very deep memory. A memory that does not belong to one person but to everyone. A memory of being held by something larger. And within that embrace, we can relax. No need to understand every mystery. No need to explain every phenomenon. No need to search for answers to every question. Just feel the presence of endless space like a soft blanket settling over you very gently, very warmly. You can imagine each star as a small point of light quietly watching, not judging, not asking anything, simply there. And you, like them, are existing in the stillness of this moment. Thoughts begin to slow. Images in the mind fade. Breathing grows deeper. The body grows heavier, like drifting softly in an ocean without waves. Perhaps because the universe is so vast, it brings peace. When we stand before something so immense, the small things in life no longer feel as heavy. Everything becomes lighter, softer, slower. And then, as you close your eyes, you no longer see the sky, but the feeling of it remains. The sense that above you, beyond the walls, beyond the atmosphere, there is a deep space still expanding. That space is not noisy, not hurried. It simply exists. And that existence brings a feeling difficult to name, a feeling of safety, of being supported. You do not need to go anywhere. You only need to rest. The universe will continue moving. Stars will continue burning. Galaxies will continue turning. And you in this moment are allowed to pause, allowed to relax, allowed to sleep. Let your mind drift slowly like a planet moving along its familiar orbit. Let every thought fade like light dimming on the distant horizon. And in that stillness you may feel that you are not alone. You are within a universe that is breathing, moving, holding everything. A feeling that is very soft, very deep, very peaceful. Like being embraced by endless space. And as your body slowly sinks into sleep, let the final image in your mind be a wide night sky filled with stars, yet very quiet. A sky that demands nothing, rushes nothing. Simply there, gentle, patient, and kind. So you can let go of the fatigue of today. So you can rest deeply. So you can drift into sleep gently like a leaf quietly falling in the night wind. And somewhere far away, the universe continues its story. And you, in this moment, only need to sleep. And as the images of stars, galaxies, and endless space slowly fade away, what remains in your mind is not knowledge but a feeling. A feeling very deep and very light, like standing by the sea at night, not hearing every wave but still sensing the steady rhythm of the water. The universe does not need to speak for us to understand it. Simply by existing, it reminds us that everything has its place. Every star, every planet, every grain of dust is where it belongs at the moment it belongs. And you are too. You are here in this moment with a body slowly relaxing, a mind slowing down, and a breath becoming steadier. If you listen closely, you may feel stillness spreading through your body, from your shoulders softening to your arms, growing heavier to your eyes closing naturally. Somewhere out there, light from stars is still traveling. Some rays began their journey before humans existed. Some light reaches Earth long after the stars that created it are gone. And still, it continues to move like a gentle memory of the universe. Jung believed that humans always carry a sense of returning to something greater, deeper. Perhaps that is why, when we think about the universe, we do not feel lost, but familiar. As if a deep part of us has known this vastness for a very long time. Perhaps before language, before memory, humans looked at the night sky and felt something very much like what you feel now, a peace difficult to name. Imagine you are lying beneath that vast sky, nothing to do, nothing to worry about, only stillness and the feeling of being held by endless space. Everything is slowing down. Time feels slower, thoughts grow smaller. Sounds fade away. Only breath remains. And within that breath there is a gentle connection. You are breathing in atoms that have existed for billions of years. You are breathing out atoms that will continue their journey through the world. A slow, quiet circle. You do not need to understand the universe to feel it. You do not need to know every mystery to feel peace. Just know that you are part of a very large story. A story that is not rushed. A story that is not loud. A story that continues little by little, very softly, very deeply. And as you lie here, listening to these slow whispers, you may realize that you do not need to try to sleep. Sleep will come on its own, like night gently falling over the sky. No force, no hurry, just naturally. If your mind is still wandering, let it wander slowly. Imagine yourself drifting among the stars, very light, very far, with no destination, no pressure, only gentle drifting. And in that drifting, your body begins to sink deeper into the soft bed. Your arms a little heavier, your legs more relaxed, your face softening as if all tension has left. The night sky is still there, galaxies are still turning, stars are still burning, but everything feels very far, very soft, very quiet. And you are at the center of a great peace. Now you do not need to do anything else. Just rest, just relax. Just let sleep come naturally. May you have a deep, gentle, and peaceful sleep. And if these gentle stories help your mind relax, help you fall asleep more easily, you can subscribe to the Stories for Sleep channel to continue sharing in the journeys ahead, a place where each night we explore the universe, nature, and the human mind in the most soothing way before closing the day. In peace. Now, close your eyes. Take a slow breath in. As our journey slowly comes to an end, you may feel the rhythm of the story slowing like a wave, quietly returning from the shore after reaching its farthest point. From distant galaxies, ancient stars, endless space to the deep reflections within the mind, everything seems to gently settle into a calm stillness. Perhaps now you are no longer trying to remember every detail, every image. And that is completely natural. Because the purpose of this journey was never to make you understand more, but to help you feel. To feel the vastness of the universe. To feel your own small yet meaningful place within it. And most of all, to feel the peace slowly spreading through your mind. Carl Jung once said that humans carry a deep need to connect with the world, with something greater than themselves, and with the deepest part of the soul. When we look at the night sky, we are not only looking at space, we are looking into a mirror, reflecting ourselves, reflecting the long journey life has taken to bring us to this moment. The atoms in your body were born in stars that faded long ago. Those tiny particles traveled for billions of years, through explosions, through cold space, through the formation of planets and oceans, until they became part of you. And now they breathe with you, rest with you, listen with you. Just thinking of that can bring a deep sense of connection. You are not separate from the universe. You are part of it. You carry its history, and in a very gentle way, the universe is also within you. Let that feeling stay a little longer. No need to analyze. No need to think. Just feel. You may notice your body growing heavier, your shoulders more relaxed, your breathing steadier. The thoughts of the day, the worries, the concerns, now drifting farther away like sounds fading as you step away from a busy street. The night grows deeper, space becomes quieter. And in that stillness you can imagine yourself drifting slowly among the stars. No destination, no pressure, nothing to complete. Only a gentle drifting. Somewhere out there, stars are still burning. Galaxies are still turning. Particles of light are still moving through endless space. But everything is slow, distant, peaceful. And you are too. You do not need to hurry. You do not need to try. Your body knows how to rest. Your mind knows how to let go. Sleep is not something you must search for. It is like a calm current slowly rising, and you only need to float with it. Let your eyes rest. Let your breath slow. Let the final images of the day fade like sunset light dissolving into night. You may still hear this voice now. but soon you will no longer hear it clearly. The words will drift farther, the sounds will fade, and you will slowly move into a quieter space where there is no noise, no thought, only deep and gentle rest. Remember that you deserve this rest. After a long day, after everything you have experienced, your body and mind are returning to their most natural state. Like the earth turning slowly at night, like the ocean becoming still after the wind, you are returning to your own stillness. There is no need to worry about tomorrow right now. No need to revisit yesterday. Only the present, only the breath, only peace. And as you drift deeper into sleep, carry with you the feeling that you are not alone in this world. Somewhere out there, the universe continues moving. Yet within that endless motion, there is a great stillness, a stillness that can hold you, protect you, and gently guide you into sleep. Thank you for being here, for taking the time to listen, to relax, to allow yourself to rest. If these gentle stories bring you peace, help you sleep more easily, and help your mind unwind after a long day, you can subscribe to the Stories for Sleep channel to continue the journeys ahead. Each video is a slow path where we explore the universe, nature, and the human mind in the gentlest way, so that each night you always have a place to return and rest. And now, close your eyes. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out gently. Let everything settle. May you have a deep, gentle, and peaceful sleep. Good night.